Before we dive in, I have a fun question for you. What kind of doodle parent are you? Take my 2-minute quiz to discover your doodle parenting superpowers and get your personalized doodle parent playbook with tips just for you and your pup. Go to thedoodlepro.com/quiz. That's thedoodlepro.com/quiz. It only takes 2 minutes and the results are so much fun. Hello, my friend, and welcome back to the Doodle Pro podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up a lot for doodle parents: board and train programs. Many doodle parents eventually start wondering if sending their dog away for a training might be the easiest solution. When a dog is jumping, pulling on leash, barking, or struggling to settle, the idea of sending them somewhere for a few weeks and getting back a perfectly trained dog can sound incredibly appealing. So today, I want to talk about board and train for dogs, what those programs are designed to do, and a few things doodle parents should understand before choosing that path. And I want to start with a personal story, because I made this exact decision myself. Years ago, when my children were very young, we had a standard poodle. At that time, I wasn't a professional trainer yet. I was simply a dog mom trying to do my best and make good decisions for our dog. I had heard that positive reinforcement training was the best approach, and that idea really resonated with me. I wanted to build a relationship with my dog based on trust and cooperation. At some point, I came across a board and train program that sounded incredible. It was connected to a prison program where incarcerated individuals trained the dogs. The story behind it was beautiful. Dogs were helping people rebuild their lives, and people were helping train dogs. It sounded like a win for everyone involved. So I asked a lot of questions. I specifically asked about training methods. I wanted to make sure they were using positive reinforcement training. They said yes, of course. And I was told something that, at the time, sounded reassuring. They added, "We start with positive reinforcement, and we only use other tools if necessary." At the time, I didn't realize that sentence was a pretty big red flag. But now I do. Because when I picked up my dog after the program, there was something in her bag: a prong collar. And she had learned a very impressive behavior, a beautiful downstay. She would lie down and stay perfectly still, no matter what distraction. It looked like incredible training. Until more time passed without using that tool I had found. Then the behavior disappeared, and something else started happening. She began submissive peeing. She grew more anxious, and the fallout from that experience was real. At the time, I didn't have the language or the experience to fully understand what had happened with our dog. But today, with everything I've learned about behavior science and training, I do understand it much more clearly. What I didn't understand back then was this: behavior built with pressure often disappears the moment the pressure disappears. And sometimes the emotional consequences can last much longer than the behavior itself. Now, I want to pause here for a moment and say something important. Skilled, accredited trainers are a gift. Working with a knowledgeable trainer who uses science-based humane methods can be incredibly helpful for families and their dogs. In fact, last week's episode of the podcast, I spoke with Jean Donaldson about how to find a good trainer and spot some of the red flags people should watch for when choosing one. Because a great trainer doesn't replace the relationship between you and your dog. A great trainer teaches you how to build that relationship. They guide you. They coach you. They help you understand your dog better. But the real learning still happens between you and your dog in everyday life. And this is where board and train programs can sometimes fall short for families. Because when someone else trains your dog, they're the one building that learning history with your dog. They're the one learning how your dog responds to reinforcement. They're the one figuring out what motivates your dog. Then your dog comes home to you. But you didn't go through that learning process together. And that's why so many Doodle parents tell me something like this. My dog was amazing when I picked them up. But after a few weeks, everything fell apart. And it isn't because you failed. It's because training is a relationship skill, not just a set of behaviors. When you train together, something really powerful happens. You learn to read your dog. Your dog learns to trust you. Your timing improves. Your communication improves. You begin to understand what motivates your dog. And your dog begins to understand you. Your Doodle doesn't need a stronger correction. They need a clearer conversation. And that conversation is something you build together. The beautiful thing about positive reinforcement training is that it strengthens that relationship every step of the way. Instead of relying on pressure or intimidation or fear or force, you're teaching your dog how to succeed. You're showing them what works. You're reinforcing the behaviors you want to see more often. Over time, your dog begins offering those behaviors willingly, not because they're trying to avoid something unpleasant, but because they understand what earns reinforcement. That's why training your dog yourself can be so powerful. And I know what some of you might be thinking right now, but I'm not a trainer, and that's okay. You don't have to be. You are already the most important person in your dog's world. You're the one they live with. You're the one they look to. You're the one who sees their behavior every day. And with the right guidance and support, you are absolutely capable of teaching your Doodle the skills they need. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to take hours every day. In fact, some of the most powerful training happens in just a few minutes at a time. Short moments, simple exercises, clear communication. Over time, those moments build something really meaningful. A relationship where your dog understands you. A relationship where your dog trusts you. A relationship where calm behavior becomes easier and easier. And that's especially important with doodles. Because if you live with a doodle, you already know something about them. They are incredibly smart. They are incredibly social and sensitive, and they are incredibly observant, which means they are constantly learning, even when we're not actively training. So the goal isn't to control your dog. The goal is to teach your dog how to succeed in the world they live in with you. Calm isn't something you force a doodle into. It's something you teach them how to find. And once they learn that skill, life with your dog starts to feel very different. Walks feel easier. Visitors feel easier. Your dog can relax more easily in the home. And you start to feel proud of your doodle's behavior, not just their adorable teddy bear looks. If life with your doodle sometimes feels more chaotic than calm, it usually isn't because your dog is stubborn. It's because no one ever showed you the system that helps calm behavior grow. That's something we can learn. That's something we can build together. And that's something I'm going to start sharing more of with you very soon. In a few weeks, I'm hosting a live Doodle Parent Challenge where we'll start building the training skills that help doodles focus, listen, and settle. We'll practice simple exercises together, and I'll guide you step by step so you can start seeing real progress with your doodle. If life with your doodle sometimes feels more chaotic than calm, this is going to be a really fun place to start. I'll be sharing more details about the challenge very soon. But for now, I want you to remember this. You don't need to send your dog away to build a well-trained doodle. You don't need painful tools that damage the trust between you and your dog. You can build those skills together. And when you do, the bond between you and your dog becomes stronger than ever. Thanks for spending this time with me today. And remember, your doodle doesn't need a stronger correction. They need a clearer conversation. I'll see you in the next episode of the Doodle Pro podcast. And remember, doodles are different, wonderfully so. Before you go, if winter paw care is on your radar, you can grab my winter paw protection guide at thedoodlepro.com/winter. It's a simple resource to help keep paws comfortable and winter routines calmer.